Hey everybody, HomeSliceHenry here, and in today's video I'm going to be discussing the team that helped me reach Battle Legend in Season 7 of Pokémon GO Battle League. I hit Battle Legend in the Open Ultra League, and I used a team of my own creation that has no XL Pokémon. This was very important to me as I did want to prove that Battle Legend is still possible for those who do not have access to XL Pokémon. I'll be discussing the team, how it works, why it's still strong with the influx of XL Pokemon, and then showcasing some battles. If you do want to skip straight to the battles, I will also include the time code on screen for you now. To start the team features a Gyarados lead, a Shadowclaw Giratina, and a double Legacy Lapras. I built this team I believe in Season 2, and it's remained a strong team throughout the seasons, despite move pool changes, additions of new Pokemon, and now the introduction of XL Pokemon. This team differs from most in terms of strategy as there is no safe swap. In a lost lead, I stay in the lead. The goal is typically to soft lose a losing lead and then farm up energy on Lapras so Lapras can close in the endgame with an energy advantage. The main leads that I do prioritize switch advantage in are Armored Mewtwo, as they typically have a hard Giratina punish in the back, Berserker, as switch advantage is needed if they are running the heavy damage team popularized by Daniel Neary, and an opposing Gyarados, as switch advantage is important in the mirror. Now that we do know the basics of the team, why is it still strong despite the influx of XL Pokemon? Well, for one, Pokemon in the Open Ultra League are bulkier than in Premier. Tanks like Giratina, Cresselia, and Lapras have comparable stat products to many of the bulkier XL Pokemon, allowing for more of an even playing field, whereas in Ultra Premier, per PvPoke, 9 of the top 13 stat products belong to XL Pokemon. The backline of this team, Giratina and Lapras, both have massive stat products into the 4600s and form a very powerful core, with the two of them having a B in coverage according to PvPoke's team building tool. Gyarados on the lead is the glassiest of the three, with a stat product only in the 3600s, but it occupies a nice niche of being able to beat or soft lose to Giratina, Cresselia, Swampert, and Registeel. Now, how does the team do against popular XLs? Per Go Battle Log, the most prevalent XL Pokemon in the Open Ultra League are Talonflame, Umbreon, Galvantula, and Politoed. To start, Talonflame. The whole team has fantastic matchups against Talonflame, so seeing it on the opponent's team is a massive advantage as you can align it with any of your 3 Pokemon with success. Umbreon is a bit more tricky. It walls Giratina, but does lose to Lapras and barely squeaks out a win versus Gyarados, so Umbreon is manageable versus any Pokemon except for Giratina. Galvantula is a nightmare in the wrong alignment. It scores very comfortable wins against Gyarados and Lapras, only being walled by Giratina, and since Galvantula is most commonly used on the lead in the Open Ultra League per my experience, and considering the team's ABA weakness to Electric, this can make the Galvantula lead exceedingly tricky to come back from. And finally, Politoed. Politoed with either nuke move loses to Gyarados, so seeing it on the lead is great. Politoed with Blizzard picks up a bait-dependent win versus Giratina, but loses to Lapras, whereas Politoed with Earthquake beats Lapras, but loses to Giratina, so Politoed is manageable in most alignments. So among the 4 most common XL Pokemon, 3 of the 4 are very manageable, with the only main trouble spot being a Galvantula lead. And next, how does the team perform in action? Let's hop into some battles. I'll showcase a few battles from my last set to hit Legend, and some battles after hitting Legend as well. Right, and we're hopping into the first match here, and this was from the set that actually did take me to Legend. And first match, we do have a Gyarados mirror, which is less than ideal. Unfortunately, I actually throw too early here. I do really like to bait, but I actually don't build up to a crunch. It was probably just the nerves of being really close to Legend that caused me to improperly bait, but we still do get a shield, which is great, and they bait back in response. And I am going to shield this up because in case it is the mirror line, I do need to win switch. They go for a crunch, so now I can safely win switch advantage, and my opponent is unlikely to shield this because I can get to 2 Aqua Tails before they get to their next move, so they do give me switch advantage, and they come in with a Meganium to farm down. I am weak to Meganium in the back with my Lapras, so I am going to need to actually stay in here so I can align the Meganium with my Giratina and make them throw their worst charge move, which is Earthquake. Earthquake, of course, is non-stab, so it is going to not be the best move for Meganium to throw. Ideally, Meganium wants to be in matchups where it can throw Frenzy Plant instead. We're able to get off a Dragon Claw, gets it nice and low, and my opponent actually does opt to go for a Frenzy Plant here. Maybe they thought they weren't going to get to the Earthquake, and I'm able to get to a Dragon Claw, and if they don't decide to shield, this is going to be taking out the Meganium. Alright, Meganium down, and they have a Talonflame in the back, and with this team, you love to see Talonflame. Basically, wherever it's aligned, you're in a really, really good spot, and we are able to catch the Flame Charge onto our Lapras, so we're in a really good spot. You're going to notice a trend throughout these battles that I often use Lapras as a damage sponge because of its absolutely incredible stat product. Able to get an Ice Shard through, which is fantastic. They just go for a Flame Charge. That's not going to be enough. They needed to Brave Bird, and I'm able to get to the Surf. That is going to be enough to take them out. So we are able to secure the win, which is absolutely fantastic. And against a double XL backline, I basically just outbulked them, and we were able to get the win. Swampert lead, this is absolutely amazing for us. They safe swap into a Scavalier, and this tells me two things. This tells me this is probably a Swampert double steal line, and since they're running a Scavalier as one of their steals, it's highly unlikely that they're running Registeel in the back, as then they'd be triple weak to Gyarados. So my guess is they probably have Melmetal in the back, so alignment will be important in this particular matchup. Here, as you can see, I am staying in, because my ideal alignment is to have Gyarados on a Scavalier, Giratina on Melmetal, and to have Lapras on the Swampert. I do go for another Aqua Tail. If they shield, they can counter me down, so I actually have to swap out of here and give up switch advantage, and they bring in a Swampert. But as you can see, I'm able to get a nice energy lead, and I'm going to be able to start just absolutely raining down Dragon Claws. And since we do have a shield advantage here, we can shield this up, and we correctly shield the Earthquake, which is absolutely massive. I'm built up to 2. I'm a little worried that 2 won't KO, so I throw 1. I throw 1 extra Shadow Claw and go for a second one, and I'm really hoping this takes them out so they can't land an Earthquake. It does, and we'll have to see what they do have in the back here, as they're unlikely to bring in a Scavalier, and it is Melmetal. So we were able to correctly read the team, which is great, and now we have the alignment that we want, basically. We have the Giratina lined up against the Melmetal, and Melmetal does outpace us, but Thunder Shocks are resisted, whereas our Shadow Claws are neutral, so that helps make up for the difference. They do a very nice catch onto a Scavalier. I was trying to throw not when I received the energy, so they couldn't catch, but they were able to read it and make a really, really nice catch. Fortunately, I still have a full health Lapras in the back, so this game still is very winnable. I can land this Shadow Sneak, come into Lapras, and my opponent sees the writing on the wall and concedes the match. So those were the 2 matches from my run to Legend in the very last set. And now let's take a look at some battles that happened after I hit Legend. Alright, and we're picking up a lead of XL Galarian Stunfisk, and this is a losing lead for us. Gyarados does not have a fantastic matchup against Galarian Stunfisk, as we do get outpaced, unfortunately. They actually built up extra there. Typically, they will get to the move before we do, which you see right here. And lately, I have taken to playing out the 2 shield and then catching what would be the killing Rock Slide on my Giratina, but I believe in this match, I chose to instead play out the 0 shield and then farm up a ton of energy on my Giratina. As you can see, we are able to get it fairly low, which is nice. And the nice thing is Galarian Stunfisk is not attack weighted, so it doesn't hit particularly hard in neutral situations. So I'm able to farm up a ton of energy. They poorly timed the Earthquake. I'm able to get a free Shadow Claw through. Earthquake doesn't do a lot, and I'm able to farm all the way up to 100, and now I'm hoping that they're in Dragon Claw range, and I'm leaving with a ton of energy. So we're in an okay spot, and they bring out Cresselia. This is absolutely fantastic. By not revealing the Lapras, they actually end up giving me the alignment that I want, because I actually do want the alignment of my Giratina onto Cresselia, especially considering the massive energy lead that I have. They go for a charge move. I have to shield this up. A Moonblast would in fact be taking me out. They bait me with a Grass Knot. So a very nice play, and my goal is to hopefully catch what would be the killing Moonblast onto my Lapras. We farm up and we catch, and we're able to catch the Moonblast, which is absolutely huge. This is a massive waste of energy for my opponent because they're going for a neutral Moonblast instead of a super effective Grass Knot that would be cheaper. Talonflame comes in, and you can hear from the smile on my face, anytime you see a Talonflame with this team, it's usually going to work out really, really well for you. They have to go for the Brave Bird here, and I'm able to farm up a nice amount and go for the Dragon Claw. Since their defense is lower, this is going to be taking them out. And then since we caught, the Cresselia is out of energy, and I'm able to get to a Shadow Sneak. And Shadow Sneak is going to be enough to take out the Cresselia and to give me the win. So even with a lost lead to an XL Pokemon, that incredibly strong backline of Giratina and Lapras able to bail me out of trouble. Obstagoon. As you can see, Obstagoon is a huge problem for my backline. So if we're going to see it, we do want to see it up front. My opponent actually farms past the Night Slash and allows me to get off the first move, which is an Aqua Tail, and now they're going to be throwing. This isn't enough for a Hyper Beam, so it's just going to be a Night Slash. I always let the first one through in case they boost. And again, they're over farming, not entirely sure why. They go for the Night Slash here, and they get the boost. This is actually really unfortunate for me. But my opponent actually chooses not to commit a shield, tries to farm down, which is a mistake, and I'm able to win switch because they attempted to farm down. They bring out a Talonflame, and we're in a really good spot here because, as I mentioned, all of the Pokemon have really good Talonflame matchups. This is probably a Brave Bird and Dip, so I shield it up, I save a bunch of health, and let's see what they have in the back. They have a Cresselia in the back. So now I'm actually going to stay in here because I have the alignment that I want. The alignment that I want is typically Cresselia onto my Giratina and then Lapras onto their Talonflame. I can let the first move through. That doesn't take me out. And since we have a big energy lead, we're going to be able to apply a ton of pressure onto this Cresselia. And now our health is actually pretty even, despite the fact that we started with a shield disadvantage. So we're in a pretty good spot here. And we get the last shield, which is absolutely huge. And we're going to need to shield this up. They do a very nice bait with a Grass Knot. And I'm going to be able to go for the Shadow Sneak here. And this is going to be getting them very, very low, which it does. And we're able to... Ooh, they actually defer the Shadow Claw onto their Talonflame. So very nice play. So the Cresselia is actually alive in the back. I land the Dragon Claw. I switch into Lapras because I threw on turn 4. They receive the energy on turn 5, so I can do the equivalent of a Dirty Swap. So that way they're forced to waste energy on a Flame Charge instead of a potential Brave Bird onto the Lapras. And I'm able to get off the Surf here. And then Cresselia does have a move, but we're Lapras. We're incredibly beefy. We tank a Grass Knot like it's nothing. The Ice Shard registers, and we're able to take them out and get the win. All right, hopping into the next match here, Gyarados into Giratina. This is a positive matchup for us if it is Shadow Claw, and it is Shadow Claw. So we win the even shield scenarios here, which is fantastic. And a lot of these matchups can really benefit from a good IV Gyarados. So of the 3 Pokemon, I would say the most important one to have a good IV one is going to be your Gyarados. Since it has a significantly lower stat product, it needs all the help it can get. They choose to play out the Zero Shield, and then they come in with an Empoleon. And they throw right away, so I know they don't have Blizzard. It's definitely a mistake to not at least fake the Blizzard, because I don't have to shield anything here, because they are just not even pretending they have Blizzard. They've shown me it's Drill Peck, so I can get away with shielding absolutely nothing here, because Giratina has a very commanding matchup over a Drill Peck and Empoleon. Drill Peck, again, the Drill Pecks do add up, but the Waterfalls are resisted, whereas my Shadow Claws are neutral, so I'm able to comfortably win this matchup and leave with energy, which is absolutely huge. They bring out their own Giratina. I come in with my Gyarados because I don't want to get farmed down, and we bait out a Charizard, and we are in a commanding position to win this game. We can now bring in our Lapras. Lapras does exceedingly well against Charizard. We're going to let this go. We can take whatever they have. They bait with the Dragon Claw, and they surrender the match. So again, those fire flying types, this team does very well against, with the exception of, let's say, maybe a Dragon Breath Charizard against Giratina, of course. All right, a Berserker lead. When I see a Berserker lead, it's typically one of 2 teams. It's either Daniel Neary's heavy damage team, which is Berserker, Armored Mewtwo, and Gengar, or it's the newer line, which is Berserker Double Water. As you can see, we have a ton of lag, so we miss, I believe, 6 Dragon Breaths. Normally, I try and prioritize winning this lead, but with this much of an energy deficit due to lag, I'm not going to be able to win the lead here. So I'm just going to try and basically do as much damage as I can, and I actually am going to have to lose this lead, which is really unfortunate. So at this point, They do decide to throw, which is big. They were afraid of me getting to a move. They waste a bunch of energy, which is absolutely fantastic. And I come in with the Lapras. Again, Lapras as a damage sponge. Lapras is a very good damage sponge. Close combat, that's fine. We're chilling. And they have a Politoed. So at this point, we do know that it is going to be the Berserker double water line, which is Berserker, Politoed with Earthquake, and Swampert. So it's basically your Giratina counter and then 2 things that cannot be Giratina. Fortunately, they wasted their Berserker pretty early on, so my Giratina is like loose in their backline and we're in a really good spot. We can keep tanking these Earthquakes just fine. We're going to build up to the 2 Dragon Claws and go back to back to hopefully take them out. Yep, we are able to get them low, and this one should be taking them out, which is fantastic. And I believe my switch clock should be up, so when they bring back in the Berserker, I'm going to be aggressively swapping into the Lapras. We do come in with the Lapras, and they have a Shadow Swampert in the back. Shadow Swampert, of course, hits harder, but also takes a lot more damage, so these Surfs are going to be doing significantly more damage here. I farm all the way up to 2. And I'm really hoping that they don't realize that I'm at 2 already. Because if they don't, because they win CMP. But if they don't, then I can get these off back to back, and we're going to be doing absolutely huge damage. We're able to get them off back to back, so we did confuse them a little bit as to how much energy we had. And this is actually fantastic. This doesn't take them out. They throw the Hydro Cannon, they kill us. We're able to get a little extra farm on our Giratina, and then it's a couple Shadow Claws. We're able to get to the Dragon Claw and take the win. So even with some absolutely terrible lag that cost us 6 Dragon Breaths, we are still able to come from behind and get the win. All right, Gyarados into a Shadow Swampert. Much like the regular Swampert, this is a really nice situation for us. Unfortunately, the Shadow does have a better matchup against our backline, but if we see it here, we have an absolutely commanding matchup. They're going to be going straight Hydro Cannon, of course. These Hydro Cannons are going to be resisted, but they do add up significantly more than the non-Shadow. Hydro Cannon actually does get us into the red, and they come in with a Scissor. And for a Scissor safe swap, you typically want to match with your Lapras. So when you see the Bug Steel typing, it's important to wait a moment to see what they bring in. Because if they bring in a Scavalier, you can bring in Giratina, and Giratina absolutely sits on it. Whereas if it's Scissor, you definitely want to bring in Lapras, because Lapras has the significantly better matchup. As we're going to be able to go for these Surfs, and because Scissor is very glassy, Scissor takes a lot of damage here. Again, we can safely let this go. It's just the Night Slash, the natural bulk of Lapras coming in handy, and we're actually 1 off of a Surf, which is very, very nice. We do get a shield, but we're able to throw 1 more Ice Shard, get to another Surf, and really start pressuring them. They double shield, so we're actually going to aggressively snipe them with Gyarados, deny them all that energy of a farm down, and they concede the match. And I will actually be showing the loading into this next match. So as you guys see, it actually says battle starting and then shows the name for like a second and loads in. So this is actually a new anti-dodging that Niantic did introduce the other day. So let me know down in the comments what you guys think about the new anti-dodging technology they're trying out. Personally, I'm a huge fan. I'm not a huge fan of when people dodge, so I think it's a big win in my book, but let me know down in the comments what you guys think about that. And let's hop into this match. They led Excadrill, which was pretty rough for us. They landed a Rock Slide and then safe swapped into Gyarados, so we're going to counter with our best Gyarados counter, which of course is Lapras. They choose to play out the Zero Shield, which is very nice for us because we can tank this last crunch, and we are going to be able to leave this match with close to a Surf loaded. They're more than likely coming back in with the Excadrill, and it is very glassy. So we can probably pressure a shield here with the Surf, and then combo play with an Aqua Tail off of our Gyarados, which we do. And we're going to be able to apply a ton of pressure to this Excadrill. We get both shields, which is absolutely massive. And now they come in with the Cresselia, And we're in a really good spot because we have 2 shields and we're going to be able to land this crunch. So we're now in a position where we can win this game. They farm us down, which is less than ideal. I am going to wait out my clock because I want the ability to have Lapras as a potential sacrificial swap later on. And we typically always let the first move through first because we can survive it, so not really a point in shielding it. And now we're just going to be going straight for these Shadow Sneaks. Ideally, if we can leave this matchup with a little bit of energy loaded, we'll be in a good spot. I try and catch. Unfortunately, I do mess up the catch, so they get a bunch of free farm. So I almost threw the game there by failing the sack, which is rough, but we're able to farm down here, which is great. Excadrill does have a move, but I can survive a drill run. So I let that go, and I'm going to force them attempt to mud shot me down, which is a very tough proposition for an Excadrill. We're able to go for the Shadow Sneak, and then get to a second Shadow Sneak there, because the opponent did have to build up to 2 drill runs, or they had to attempt to mud shot me down. And neither one was going to happen before I got to that second Shadow Sneak. Alright, picking up a negative lead here in a Togekiss. So I've seen a lot of people ask, how do I play out charm leads? I play it out like this. I stay in, and I'm going to be going straight for the Aqua Tail. I do attempt to time very carefully, so they ideally don't get a free charm through. And as you can see, unfortunately, I did miss a Dragon Breath, so I can't get to my second Aqua Tail. They go for the Ancient Power, but this actually works out for me, because I'm going to be able to come in with Lapras, and I'm going to be able to get an absolutely huge farm here. Unfortunately, they are able to get to a move because I believe my fast moves were lagging a little bit, which is unfortunate. And they actually do get the boost as they leave, and they have a Surfetched in the back. So things are looking a little rough. We do get a shield, and now we're going to be able to do some damage in terms of health. And then we're going to switch into Giratina and see what they have in the back. They have an Alolan Muck. So we are countered every which way in this game. As always, I'm letting the first one through first. I can survive it. And since we have a 2-turn fast move and they have a 3-turn, I'm going to try and carefully time my moves. Unfortunately, I did let a free Snarl through there, which is really not ideal. However, the good news is we do have a bit of an energy lead, and we have a lot of banked energy here. And we don't let a Snarl through, because these Dragon Claws do add up rather significantly on the Alolan Muck. We're able to go back to back, no Snarl through, which is very nice, and we have this Alolan Muck very low. We're going to build up, we're able to do a sacrificial swap onto our Lapras, which is absolutely huge, and we're going to come in and throw the Dragon Claw. Dragon Claw is enough to take them out, and now we just have to get to 2 moves versus the Surfetched. We shield up, and it's going to be a race. We just got to get to the second move, and we fall 1 Shadow Claw short. So even against what they basically had counters for each of my Pokemon in the alignment they wanted, almost able to pull off a win there, fell just short. All right, Charizard on the lead, and we'll have to check the fast move. It is Dragon Breath. Dragon Breath is the worst case scenario here, although it's still pretty decent. It's still a pretty neutral matchup, but with Dragon Breath, they can at least hit us for neutral, whereas this is a way better matchup if they have Wing Attack or if they have, of course, Fire Spin. All right, another charge move coming through. We are going to be shielding this up. It is the Dragon Claw, and we are going to be over farming by just a bit and going for an Aqua Tail. And they have a decision to make. Do they want to try and go for switch advantage? They do, and they actually make a very nice catch there, so they are able to bank a move, and they're able to catch the Aqua Tail onto Politoed. I'm very much suspecting here that they're running Earthquake instead of Blizzard, and I make the correct read. So if you suspect they're running Blizzard, you do want to go into your Lapras. But since they had a Dragon Breath Charizard up front, my guess is that's their Giratina counter, and they have 2 things potentially weak to Giratina in the back. So based off that read, based on team composition, I actually do go into the Giratina, and I'm able to stack moves back to back so they can't get to another Earthquake. Of course, the Charizard does come back in, and they have a loaded move. Dragon Claw is going to hurt here. We are able to farm down, and what do they have in the back? They have a Cresselia in the back, so that makes quite a bit of sense there. Cresselia can do fairly well against Giratina, but if it's Shadow Claw, then they do end up dropping a lot of matchups that they would have if they were running the Dragon Breath. We do try and catch a move. Unfortunately, we actually catch a grass knot, so that is definitely worse for us. But we are able to save energy on our Giratina, and we're going to start peppering them with surfs in order to force them to throw. Now here, we're in a pretty comfortable position because we survive a grass knot. They have to throw again to avoid being hit by a surf, which means they're energy dry, and since we stored energy on our Giratina, one Shadow Claw, we're able to get to a Shadow Sneak, and that is going to be able to take them out and to give us the game. So another very close game there, but we were able to make the correct read on the potential Politoed moveset, so we were able to get the alignment in the order that we wanted. All right, Giratina lead, we have seen this before, it's Shadow Claw, so we're in a pretty good spot. We can win the even shields, but if they do decide to commit more shields than we do, then that's honestly fine by us. They do go for a second one here. Again, we can let this go because we can still win the 0 if they decide not to shield this. But if they do decide to shield it, then unfortunately we're going to have to play out the 0-1 shield and lose switch. So they do decide to play it out that way, and they throw, which is perfect. They waste a whole bunch of energy because they were worried about us getting to another move. And now it's farming time for Lapras. And this is what I was talking about when I mentioned soft losing leads and getting a huge farm on Lapras. Lapras is so incredibly bulky. It can take charge move after charge move, and we're going to be able to leave this matchup. We don't have switch advantage, but we have shield advantage and an energy advantage. So we're in a really, really good spot. We're going to be going for a huge Ice Beam on their Venusaur, switching into Giratina, and they have a Swampert in the back. So our Giratina, with a shield advantage, is going to be able to completely clean up in the back. Charge move coming through from the Swampert. I decide to let this go. It is the Earthquake, but the good news is we can take an Earthquake, so that's really not an issue. We're going to be able to go back to back on these Dragon Claws and apply a ton of pressure to the Swampert. Actually, we decide not to throw the back-to-back. I believe that that was a mistake, and I definitely should have thrown the back-to-back because then I wouldn't have had to shield. And it looks like, oh, I see what I'm doing. I'm double shielding and farming down. That makes quite a bit of sense. They bring in the Venusaur because they don't want to be farmed down, and I have so much energy loaded that I am going to be able to go back-to-back on the Venusaur, and then we're in a really good spot where, oh, when we catch onto Lapras, oh my goodness. Past me, you monster. All right, we're able to farm down with Giratina. Swampert comes in, and a couple Shadow Claws is able to take them out, and we're able to get the win. All right, hop into the next match here. Gyarados into a Giratina. You'll see quite a lot of these, and again, it's very dependent on the fast move. They switch into Clefable, so this tells me this is Giratina double charm, so I'm going to have to be very careful here. So I get some chip damage with Aqua Tail, and then I'm going to come in with Lapras. The most important Pokemon on my team at this very moment is Lapras. I need to protect health on my Lapras, and I need to leave with a ton of energy because none of his remaining Pokemon, which are probably Giratina and Togekiss, want to see a Lapras with a ton of energy. We're able to farm down. We have 100 energy, and they bring out the Togekiss. This is absolutely huge for us because we're going to be able to apply so much pressure to this Togekiss. We're able to get both shields, which is fantastic. Unfortunately, we cannot get to another Surf, but we're actually okay here. We're actually coming in with Giratina, believe it or not, because Giratina in a shields down situation actually has a pretty nice Togekiss matchup if you're running Shadow Claw. And that's one of the main reasons I run Shadow Claw, is for steal coverage, but also as a very soft check, an emergency check, if you will, in case I get switch locked into a fairy. They do a very nice job of giving me as little potential farm as possible on my Giratina. I'm able to get one Shadow Claw, but all I have to do here is basically just get to 2 Shadow Sneaks, and we should be good to go for taking out this Togekiss. Landing the first, and now we're going to be able to land the second. And then one more Shadow Claw is able to do the trick and give us the win. So even against the double charm team, still able to get the win. You love to see it. Hopping into the final match of the video here, and we're picking up an XL Talonflame lead. This is absolutely amazing for us. They save swap it into Obstagoon, and this is the beautiful thing about this line, is we have such flexibility in Talonflame leads that since they showed us the Obstagoon, we can actually stay in here with our Gyarados, use it to take care of the Obstagoon, because both of our Pokemon in the back have really nice matchups against Talonflame. We are going to be going for the Aqua Tail, and I decided to commit the shield early in the hopes that they would commit none, which they do. We're able to Dragon Breath down, and now that pesky Obstagoon is gone, Meganium comes in, and we have a very clear win condition. We're going to stay in here, so that way we can align our Giratina with the Meganium, and we're going to be able to align our Lapras with the Talonflame, and from there it should be a pretty straightforward win. We let this go, and we're going to come in with our Giratina and just farm up and wait for them to try and catch, which they do onto Talonflame, and now we can bring in our Lapras. Again, as I mentioned, the beautiful thing, Lapras can tank a Brave Bird, guys. So even if they Brave Bird me here, I can no shield it because we survive it. And since they let this through, if they Brave Bird, oh, perfect. We're in a really good position where we can fully farm them down. They try and go for the third Brave Bird, they're unable to. The threat of an Ice Beam forces them to burn energy here, which is absolutely fantastic for us. We're just going to let that go. We're going to come in with Giratina, and as we've seen, this matchup is great for Giratina because it forces them to use their non-stab move, Earthquake. So we can confidently no-shield whatever they throw, build up to 2 Dragon Claws. The first one will get the shield, and the second one is going to take them out. And they bait with the Frenzy Plant. Oh no, that is not going to do it. All right, first Dragon Claw gets the shield, second one gets the Pokemon to faint, and we are able to get the win. So all in all, this is a team that I'm really passionate about, and a team that has served me exceedingly well in the Open Ultra League. As I mentioned, I built this team, I believe, in Season 2, and it has remained strong despite move pool changes, additions of new Pokemon, and even the dreaded XL Pokemon. So anyways, I hope you guys found this informative. This team helped me get to Legend yet again, so it's a team I'm very, very proud of. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you're enjoying the content, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And a huge thank you to our members here on YouTube. The support you guys provide is absolutely incredible. So thank you guys oh so very much. And until next time, I've been HomeSliceHenry.